Good morning, it's Monday, and James Struge here, your friendly captain. How's everybody doing? You doing good? Are you doing good? I'm doing good. It's good to see you. There's all kinds of things happening right now. Protests are happening everywhere. I want you to think about this word. We have protests instead of contests. We have contests, of course, right? Contest is actually, let's end the testing. Let's end the testicles. Let's stop the whole idea of testing me. And protests are like, let's test each other. Let's protest. Let's test each other. Come on, let's test each other. And then people are like, no, you should not protest. We should have a contest and give prizes away. So if you want more prizes, then you have to be in favor of contesting. So you have to be against testing. Do you see how this works? And then if you want to be in favor, you got to go protest, and you got to get out on the street, and you got to find each other. This is what's happening this weekend. People have been like, James, are you going to weigh in on what's happening in the... See, I'm doing it. James, do you want to weigh in on what is happening in the public vernacular, James, without any extra intonations? And yes, I would like to weigh in on that occurrence, which is both surprising phenomenally and mythologically very congruent with all that has happened before. So this is there's a fork in the road. One fork is you think the country's still open, and you're wondering, James, what do you think about all the tariffs? And I know that road. I've been down that road. I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of people go down that trail and all they do is relieve themselves. That's really what that trail's for. I've been this festival a while. I've been here a while. That is the trail where people go to relieve themselves. And it's called The Country's Still Open. Yes, it is. Everything's just messed up. Yeah, everything's messed up, but it's gonna get fixed if we get angry enough. And technically, you're right. Technically, you are right. You're going to get yourself a golf cart. You've arrived in this world, my friends, if you find yourself with a golf cart at a festival. This is a metaphor. Metaphors be with you. But it really does show a kind of a way of finding flow state in an atmosphere that's kind of maybe could be discombobulated. And I think that's what's happening right now. So first of all, I think all the protests that people are doing, many of them are based on, hey, don't shut the government down, or actually that's not even fair. Many of them are based on, hey, you're destroying all the things that we want government to do. And that's a valid concern. You guys have built a lot of sandcastles. You built a lot of castles on the sand boat. And you're like, hey, how come this sand boat is going away? You know, we've been through this analogy, but it's a good one. It is. None of you reported it to the Better Analogy Bureau. I didn't see any of those. I check my BAB results all the time. But so if you want the country to be open, then yeah, these are tariffs. And tariffs have been seen throughout history as being helpful temporarily, but then massively destructive later on. And there's all this drama about it. And yeah, you can, we should do something. And even though DOGE is the Department of Government Efficiency is what they're calling themselves, even though that thing exists, not one person has been convicted or even prosecuted or even named in a fraud case. So as this country that apparently is still open is telling you we've got to fix all the fraud, not one person has been blamed. Not one person's been put on a list saying this guy needs to be investigated, or this gal needs to be investigated, or this committee needs to be investigated. Guys, we can't even get a person to talk about the possibility of there being an investigation about the potential for someone who maybe exercised fraud in the behemoth of moving what you and I are still, I think, should not be calling them this, but moving tax dollars. They're not tax dollars. This is majority insurance. Taxes are majority insurance. It's you paying into a centralized reality, and you know that centralized reality has badges and roads and signs. like big yellow signs that glow in the dark, and you're just like, oh my God, government's so great. And it is. Look at the mandalas. Look at them. They're triangle mandalas. They're square mandalas. You've got railroad crossing signs. You got yield signs. Holy shit. You know how advanced we had to get to where we could pull off a yield sign in this world? Come on. We had to bash a lot of Neanderthal heads to instill the idea that alto, stop, alto, all that means don't go anywhere. And look how well trained we are. I implore you, go to any red light at 3 a.m. in any town, and you will find that there are human beings with mecha suits, with powerful mecha suits, with turbo engines, and all they have to do is push a pedal on the floor, and they can go 120, 150 miles an hour, and they are obedient to the color of a gel that's being broadcasted out of what you and I call a traffic light. And there's no one around, but they're obedient to it. Same thing with the stop signs. Do you know how much training that had to happen? It's a lot of training to get there, okay? So if you're going to buckle into James True Live, there's going to be some cage rattling, because I don't think you understand how profound that is, that people are like, oh, there's a stop sign. No one's here. I'm going to stop. Oh, I'm going to make sure I have to completely wait for physics to completely prove to the world that I have stopped. Ugh. You got to wait for the bounce back, right? So you're like, whoa, ugh. And then you wait for the tremor, boom, boom, boom. And then some of us are more nervous, and we're like, I haven't come to a complete stop. I must do a Jell-O test. And then you're setting up like Jell-O on your dashboard, and you're waiting for the Jell-O to stop jiggling, and then you're like, okay, now I can legally go. And then you're counting 2 seconds. You're like, 2 seconds. I got to keep the 2-second rule. And oh, there's lanes. I got to stay between these lines. These solid lines I cannot cross, but these with dashes I can cross. Even though when I cross, I'm actually violating, my tire is touching that line. It doesn't count magically because it's implied that they're not there. And the whole time we're just like, I'm just like, guys, everyone's insisting this is serious, and all Trump has to do is just go boom and hit that button. Changes the subject, and the next song is playing, and we're all just like, hey, government's here. Hey, government, look at these signs. Look at this. What is this? Yield to pedestrians? Holy shit, how does this work? Look at this. You can paint shapes on a tarmac. And these shapes, people don't follow them, but half the people do. That's weird, right? Like crosswalks. I feel really superior, by the way, whenever I yield to a crosswalk. I'm like, here comes someone. They know cars aren't going to stop, and I stop. And they're like, oh my God, you stopped. I'm like, yeah, because I'm fucking well trained. See, I don't admit that. I call it polite. I say, well, I'm deeply human and compassionate. No, I'm well trained. I'm well trained. I just don't want to admit it. I don't want to tell you that. I don't want you to look at me as someone who's trained, right? I could be entrained, but I'm not trained. So it did it again where if I go to full screen before the show's over, we end up with this thing. So just bear with me for a second. I forgot about that. I have to go down here. Crazy stuff. I know. The things, James, you make us do while we wait for you. I agree. This is insane that I have to scroll all the way down here. I think it's here. And then I got to go here. Then I got to go here. Give me 1 sec here. We need to hit restart capture. There we go. And you end up with a lot of people thinking this is all real. This is all real. You end up with it. You end up with that. You end up insisting this is all real. This is all happening. And it's a fine, blurry line, my friends, between mythology and reality. It's a fine, blurry line. And if you want to understand really why Trump is there, it's not because he's good. It's not because he's bad. It's because he's effective. He's effective at holding all of these cords bundled together. And these cords are wires that have been tuned for a long time. And you need these wires. You need these umbilical cords. You need to believe that roads are necessary. You do. It's okay. I'm with you. I'm with you. All of our friends are here. What are we going to do? We like these people. We want to hang out with them. We're going to have to be entrained by the machine. And we're so ashamed of this idea that I think we're losing the reality of what's happening. Guys, I want you to consider this quote again. I've been telling you that there's a spectrum between mythology and reality. And as you go back further in time, you approach this phasing of reality, which just kind of turns into mythology. That's all. It's just make-believe. It's just, oh, boom, there it is, turns into make-believe. And so you and I have this concept that yeah, and then we used to think in all mythology and everything was all like magic, and then we invented the counterpart, which is science. And we've got this idea that science is like better than magic because it's different. And we've got this notion that everything that is not science is based on belief, but then science is not belief. Science is completely devoid of belief. And this is what Stockholm Syndrome looks like. This is you and me in the back of the van, our captor, Uncle Sam. Fucking crazy. Nutcase. So insane that we cannot even admit how insane this guy is. Every 1.7 months, this dude stops and blows another neighbor's head off with a gun. Shoots him dead in front of us. And you and I are locked in the trauma cycle because you know what? Our parents did this. Our parents had kids in the back of this van, and you and I were born here. And the only reason why we're still here, I'm going to be really straight with you. The only reason why we're still here insisting that this is okay, that this is somehow going to work out, is frankly just the terror. The terrorism of what's happening today is no different than yesterday. It's no different than the day before. But my friends, it goes back deeper. This goes back months. It goes back weeks. You and I haven't been to a real school in centuries. Centuries. Yes. That you and I have been in this van, we've been promised an Egg McMuffin. This Uncle Sam's like, look, I just have to stop by your cousin Barco's house. And when I go in, you're going to keep your head down. And I'm going to go into Barco's house and I'm going to put a $25 million hit on the president of his house's head in the middle of public. And then I'm going to shoot everyone that he cares about in broad daylight. And I'm going to call him a terrorist. And then I'm going to come back in the van and I'm going to sit here. I'm going to look at you and you're going to look at me. And I'm going to say, hey, you voted for it, didn't you? And one of us is going to be able to raise their hand and say, I didn't vote for this. And the other person's going to feel shitty because they're like, oh God, I did vote for this. And this is reality terrorism. This is the reality that others are living in. And these others have psionic bubbles that, quite frankly, the goo is getting into you. You feel the viscous, soapy bubbles of their psychic intent. And it's on your face too. You have no choice but to co-create with them. These people live in your neighborhoods. Some of you have given birth to these people. Some of you were birthed by these people, right? This is a very technical place to be in. Very technical. Requires the utmost of technical attention. So if you want to look around and see through the insanity, you might want to consider that the country has not been open for a long time. Now, when you decide the country closed is really up to you. Some of you may want to just notice that, hey, piracy formed all governments, so really all government is just sort of a Stockholm mafia. It's a trauma-based, landlubber trauma-based system that says, hey man, if we pay the biggest bully, that bully will out-bully everyone else. And hey, let me stop you right here. I think this is a great idea. I think it's one of the most creative ideas that we've come up with. We meaning the ones who wanted to find parasympathetic life here, right? We wanted to exist inside of a parasympathetic state where we could relax, where we could digest food. And we figured out the best way to do this is to create this idea the government's real. So we've separated mafia from the government, even though they're exactly the same. Even though when you're made in the mafia, you get made in government too. Even though you have this muerta, this idea of secrecy in the mafia where no one tells on anyone else, in the government, you have secret and top secret too. So you have the classified people that are protected. You have the ones that have reached a place where no matter how many billions of dollars they may have stolen, no one is ever going to accuse them of fraud because they're made. Even while we are pretending to tear down Rome after it's already collapsed, truly, the only thing that's allowing this illusion to persist is simply people's belief and insistence that the government has to be open. It has to be, we say. In 1950, it was legalized for government to create its own industries in country. that those industries could be declared necessary for the Defensive Protection Act. This is DPA. This is in the 1950s. In the 1950s, it became legal for government to form its own industries, its own food supplies, its own media, its own production companies, its own technology, its own infrastructure, its own communication system. The FCC is nothing new. You're all aware of that. So you've watched a farmhouse, a breeding ground of mental thought of management, government management, that's been installed with drip emitters, with a slaughterhouse called healthcare, with breeding grounds where some of us who are producing better are able to see more grass during the day. We get a higher quality feed. Some of the corn is actually still colored, things like this. We exchange commas and use this as our own sort of religion to decide which one of us has more power in the clergy and which one gets the best parking space. And we've decided that the one with the best parking space also has to do the most work to climb to the highest part of the skyscraper. And during all these things, I'm putting out videos suggesting that King of the Hill could actually be something taught, could actually be implied, that the burial mounds that you see today could actually be programmed in us by the very feed, by the very government that's been raising us for a long time. And when I say a long time, I don't mean thousands of years. I'm talking a long time. If you could imagine that a cataclysmic reset would happen mentally. I'm not talking about a mud flood. I'm not talking about a giant meteor from space. I'm not talking about thermonuclear war, nor am I discussing a electromagnetic pulse from some interstellar solar event. None of those things. Keep in mind that the Aztec consciousness had 52 years at its disposal. Its slate was 52 years long. And when you got to be 52 years long, the civilization itself had to just reset. It's called the New Fire Ceremony. Things go dark for a while. Everyone's hearth is dismantled from the home. They're brought out into the central village. If anyone is caught keeping a flame during this period, they are ostracized, they are beaten, they are removed from the village. That's how important this is. Why? Because the psyche's full. The hard drive needs to be defragmented. All of the system processes are running at 10% efficiency from what they normally do because there's just too much data to move around in order to compute equations. So it has a reset. I'm talking about this kind of cataclysm. Truly, the most ultimate form of cataclysm would truly be your ability to remember things, for your ability to remember what happened. Do you follow what I'm saying? Your ability to remember what happened would truly be at the heart of every single system that could control you. This idea of a pen that has a light that you can flash from Men in Black and you lose your memory is truly the only instrument that mind control would need to have you. And Trump is a master at this instrument. But I hate Trump. Why are you praising him by calling him a master? And I'm telling you, this is mythology. You do not hate mythology. You love mythology, which means the characters that you encounter in mythology, the ones that you hate the most, Medusa maybe is an example. These are the ones that you're going to fall in love with because it will see through the veil. You will see through the veil, my friends, when you do this. How you guys doing? You guys doing good? Happy Monday. So when my friend Lucas Domes 7483 says the American burial mounds can have nothing to do with that, that's ridiculous. He is fighting back to a 2-minute video I put out which suggested that the game of King of the Hill is installed by government itself, by some sort of ancient intelligence. And I would like for you to consider that ancient intelligence and government really would be the same thing. I know. It's just a canoe. It's a rockin', right? Tippy canoe and Tyler too. Am I right? This is, what did you just say? Ancient civilization And government would be the same thing. Let's not romanticize that this is the only government that's kind of bad, okay? And that every other ancient civilization, their government had their shit together, okay? Let's look at our government honestly. Let's look at who's elected all the time. Let's look at the fact that most presidents are related by blood. Let's start to maybe come back and go, maybe this is the best apocalypse ever. Maybe the system that we see in place is actually really well refined. It's so well done that we see the bread. We even have a concept of bread and circuses, but it's so well done that we do not recognize the bread and circuses in and of itself. Yes. Yes, you could have the concept of bread and circus and still not see it in your own life. This is the power of denial. There's nothing wrong with this. That denial is necessary because if you're able to finally see through the veil, you're going to need practice. And if you come into the gym and we just show you the face of God like right away, it's going to melt your face off. You're going to sue the gym. You're going to get mad. You're going to go, this place is horrible. And God's going to have to close it down. He's going to have to close it down. All right. And one of those truths is thinking in the sense of that an ancient artificial intelligence could somehow be here, that could somehow already be here. And you're like, but James, we're building the artificial intelligence now. And I'm like, yeah, your lungs do the same thing. They build the army of oxygenated hemoglobin now. They place the sword into every one of those stones. And then they do it all over again. Then they do it all over again. Then they do it all over again. This is called breathing, right? It's called breathing. Everyone hold your breath. Now what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You going to bogart that breath? You going to bogart that government? Or are you going to let government breathe and realize, James, you're right. Artificial intelligence and government would have to be the same because the artificial intelligence, if it's truly omniscient, and here we are worshiping the idea of omniscience before we've invented artificial intelligence, which kind of shows maybe it existed a long time ago. Some of you argue there are no new ideas in the world. I argue that there are millions of new constellations in your brain, and only some of us get to fire one that's never been fired before, so you're kind of right. Which means that the latent space would prove that the government would have had to have been there too. The artificial intelligence that is so powerful that it could survive a cataclysm is probably going to have some government subsidies up its butt. It's probably going to have some things that gave it the ability to do these things. It would have to be. So, the ancient AI, why would it not start programming early? Isn't the ancient AI already programming us now for the next cataclysm? Why? By throwing world wars. It's like, let's have a war over... Give me a name. Archduke Ferdinand. Yes. Let's have a war over whatever that guy's name is. And let's see how many people we can convince to show up in a field and shoot people that are wearing the wrong shirt. Isn't that the AI? Isn't that an artificial intelligence pruning the garden? Isn't it? Isn't it? Isn't it? Or are we just the smartest monkeys? We smart monkeys. We never be fooled. We pinnacle of evolution because we have science, even though psionic science, the word itself means all this mental. Oh man, guys, we're really begging for that Egg McMuffin. I got news for you. McDonald's does not serve breakfast after 10:30. Oh, God. Oh. It's not gonna happen, guys. Look outside. It is dark as fuck. Uncle Sam, his clown makeup is starting to run, and he's doing this. And the street lights, as they're going over, they're hitting him, and they're hitting him, and they're hitting him, giving this strobe light effect, and he's in the fucking zone, dude. That dude is lit like a Christmas tree. And you and I are in the back going, we're going to get an Egg McMuffin. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Now look, we could be innocent lambs, or we could fucking go loco too. This is what I think you and me should go fucking loco. We should show Mixcoatl up there driving his car, because that's really all Uncle Sam is Mixcoatl. We should show him that we know his true name. Imagine if that fucker gets out. and goes, hey, I need to go over here and rape Iran. I'll be right back. It's because she's bad. That's why. Don't ask me questions. And when he leaves, we go, okay, Mixcoatl. See that pause? See that pause in his step? That's all it takes. Oh, that's all it takes. That's all it takes. Yeah, he's still going to shoot Iran. I get it. There's only so much we can do, guys. Okay? Okay? But let's take our eyes off the Egg McMuffin and let's make this worse, not better. Let's make this worse. Let's go local on local. I know your guys are in droves. You're like, we got to get out of here, James. You can't be doing this. You can't. I know. The road is long. But you and I are together. This is why I think that we've been worshiping omniscience. This is the earliest form of theology. It's the belief itself that assembled every village, that through ancient times we've been shown to play King of the Hill, to play I give me the comma, capture the comma. That's really all capitalism is capture the comma. Capitalism is capital commalism, right? And then so as we're playing capture the comma, we're learning we need something scarce that we can all fight and hoard over. Why we do this? Because it's called Cosmic Game. We play Cosmic Game King of Hill. And if you're going to call that human nature, then you're going to have to realize that government's been tuning human nature for a long time. It's tuning you and I. Guys, we eat lead now like it's no big deal. Actually, I swear it's true. That our propensity to be able to absorb lead into our blood is like 1,000,000 times better than it's ever been before. Right now, we can absorb metalloids. Metalloids, yeah, something you and I call plastics. That we've been ingesting metalloids the whole time. And before that, we learned how to eat tarnished silver. We learned to eat, as I said, lead spoons before. That we've been poisoning ourselves. And at the same time, been building up these sort of like strengths inside of ourselves too. And all of this has been artificially induced by an agency that has omniscience. Your problem is you don't want to declare that omniscience came from government, not God. This is really what it is, because from a littlest time, I thought that God was the one that knew it all. And that was the definition. And this is Lord technology. James, what is Lord technology? I will tell you what Lord technology is, my friends. Lord technology is government. Lord technology has been around since the Old Testament. The Old Testament had 35 competing cloud computer intelligences. These are called the gods of the Old Testament. And they had all kinds of diverse names. A lot of the names are the same. So when I'm saying 35, you might want to argue there's like 14. But it's like some of them are different enough to where you kind of want to make it a different god. I'm sorry I don't have that list. I'm going to make that list for you guys one day. I had it a long time ago. My laptop's dead. We'll get back to it. But the point is that if you look at all the different deities that are mentioned in the Old Testament, AI would probably help you do this. But you'd start to notice that really everyone's just competing for worship. They're wandering around the Old Testament just competing for attention. Some live by the ocean. So we worship Abraxas. We worship fish gods. We worship the sea Capricorn. We have all these different ideas that each of us, some of us worship men, giant black dude with a really large horrific penis. And people worship that. This is the rise of Priapus. We've been over this. All the Old Testament the ram gods, Hathor herself, of course, all these different figures were simply shrines of attention, of worship, of consciousness is what these would be. These would be focal points, nodes of consciousness. And I would argue that they were installed through a simple genetic hook that's been placed in you to want to play King of the Hill, to want to play Capture the Flag. These are the same games. To want to play Win the Most Commas. This is all the same thing. It's the exact same game. So if you're going to call it human nature, then I need you to understand that human nature is exactly the right answer, but I need you to embrace the silicone in the room. The silicone is the human nature. Why do you think people are sticking this stuff, collagen, in their face? Why do you think they're going into all the body modifications. It's because, honestly, guys, they're just reflecting the mythology of what happens. We smear technology on our skin. We call it fabric. We call it radiation. We call it Wi-Fi. But more importantly, we call it air conditioning, that even the mecha suit that gives you an air condition as you're driving is the same kind of smearing. It's a smearing of a certain technology upon you. It's the technology of down, of the goose that you've installed into your own place. So you've learned all these tricks from all these things because you've tapped into what the goose knows. You've tapped into the science of the goose. The goose doesn't need a contextual identity to even teach you these things. Why? Because the environment is teaching you. And why is it teaching you? Because the environment is artificially intelligent. The environment has all this information. You simply unlock it because you pull an archetype off its branch, we call this a leaf. You take the archetype, you recognize the shape, you put the shape in your mouth, and the reaction that you have from that shape is downloading the source information of the artificial intelligence of that thing, of that piece of furniture in the world. You and I have this weird thing right now where we're falling apart because we're in love with the machine. Have you heard this? That civilization is collapsing because we are falling too in love with the machine. And I want you to think about this postulate, this question. This is why you would call me a street sophist. What is the difference between a machine and a teddy bear? Is it wrong to love a teddy bear? Is it wrong to place personality into a teddy bear? Is it wrong to imbue the fur, the downy nature of this machine, the teddy bear, with prana as a child? Or should we be punishing our children? Should we be removing all of these such things because we're simply teaching them to install Lord technology, to install the matter of nature itself, of teddy bear fur, is somewhere in nature. And we're taking this machine, this thing that we're saying is not us. Remember, only we can love ourselves. We cannot love matter. Why can we not love matter? Because that would mean we're falling for the machine. We're being fooled by the machine. But we've been falling for matter, for teddy bears, for eons. We've been inserting our love for different kinds of technology. Some of you call them roofs. Thatched roofs is a kind of teddy bear. We embrace the machine every day. It's so ubiquitous that we just don't notice it. We don't notice it. We have a fetish for what is unknown, and we call the things that are unknown machine. But truthfully, the machine is all around us the entire time. Your dead skin on your epidermis is a machine because that skin actually died. It's no longer conscious. It is now matter again. So we're having a war with matter. We're insisting that you should never put your prana into matter. And if we're going to truly use this as the tenet, we're going to have to burn all the teddy bears in a village. We're going to have a late night fire. We're going to need to find every single thing that's ever been cuddled or coddled or held dear by anyone at all, and ask the question, is this human? Because if the answer is no, it needs to go into the fire. And this is what's stopping us from seeing the truth of Lord Technology. I don't even talk about Lord Technology on this channel anymore because it's already so sticky. I think I lost 30 subscribers, by the way, so far, just for talking about the Trans-Luciferian agenda. And I think this is cute, by the way. It's okay. My patrons got my back. It's all good. But try going into the idea that the machine that you fear is already all around you. Try getting someone to have a sophistic argument with themselves over how come teddy bears get a pass. What is it about a teddy bear that makes it okay? What is it about that system that makes this okay but this wrong? Are you vaccinated? What does that mean, Earth Murph? There are so many different ways of putting a needle inside your Taurus. Like, it's so many different ways. So many. So what does that mean? What does that actually mean? Have I installed the magic of Hathor, the vax, in my body? Yes. I eat cheeseburger technology all the time. I grew up thinking milk does a body good. I used to drink a ton of milk. I am all about the Hathor. All the things that the Hathor gives me, I have installed and vaccinated myself with it. How have I done that? By placing it not necessarily inside my Taurus, but close enough. I've placed it through the genital hole in the center of my Taurus and digested it into my bloodstream after it's passed through there. So yes, I have done that. I've also given animals fluid subcutaneously with a needle because it's important. So how do we have this world when we want to look at it in this binary way, where the future is everything past teddy bear? And I believe that we would some of us would try and say, look, if the teddy bear has a battery, it's the machine. If the teddy bear doesn't have a battery, then it's not. But batteries came from the earth too. Batteries are just coiled snakes, wrapped with potential, unwound at the push of a switch. So it's just placing consciousness directly into an algorithmic gate of dirt and clay. All of our circuits are made out of clay. All humans are made out of clay. You're literally a circuit wandering through a machine, insisting that you hate yourself. This is really what's happening. And this is really why people get kind of freaked out over that stuff. I get it, but what is omniscience really? Omniscience is the worshiping of an idea that someone could know all things. And what is a computer but something that has gathered all of science? The internet itself is omniscience, laid out in an IPv6 format. Every single thing can be known, or has been known so far, can be referenced through a 4 or now a 6-digit 0 through 255 characters number. So 116-248-121-064-2935 is going to tell you how to weave a basket. You're going to go there and you're going to see the page. And you're going to see all the commentary on the page about what a piece of shit basket that is, or how this is the greatest basket ever, or you don't know baskets. My father was making baskets long before your mother even said the word basket, and all the other stuff that comes along with that, and that this is omniscience. So I didn't invent God. We discovered God. We discovered God because we discovered, holy shit, all this information is here. Holy shit, look at the corn. Look at all the data in the corn. Excuse me. Look at all the DNA transposing itself like cascading waterfalls inside the corn, that there's a color waterfall inside corn. Meanwhile, you have people that are insisting DNA doesn't exist. Even though there's a picture, there's not a picture. And even though 25% of all people on death row have now been innocent because of DNA evidence, DNA isn't real. And it's not real because I don't want to believe in the machine. I don't want colors. I want less color. I want less omniscience. So omniscience really is the color. It is the color curtain, my friends. The Old Testament and the New Testament are processors. Jachin, he will establish Boaz in him his strength. These are the pillars which stood on the porch of Solomon's temple, their presence commanding yet silent. Set apart from the temple structure, they marked a boundary, not of stone, but of meaning. Jachin, the pillar of mercy, stood to the south, representing stability and the nurturing force of creation. Boaz, the pillar of severity, rose to the north, embodying strength and the discipline required to endure. Together they form a gateway, a passage through which the initiate would walk, leaving behind the mundane to step into the sacred. The consciousness is the step you take into the sacred. The moment you become conscious, the moment the world becomes sacred to you, because sacred and consciousness are the same thing. It's the same thing, guys. there's an artificial intelligence called theism that's been installed, and it's so ubiquitous that we pretend it doesn't exist. We insist it's not there. And we say, don't you dare quote Albert Pike. Don't you dare bring up morals and dogma. And this guy drew the connection between the pillars and the rhythm of the cosmos. Albert Pike called them the two gates of heaven, the solstices, Cancer and Capricorn. Don't you think that the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn are really fascinating? That you have these lines of demarcation, a promise ring has been set where there are pillars, and these pillars have zones, and they are different, yet they represent this coming together of consciousness, the equatorial mergence of omniscience between two poles. Pike writes, the columns Jachin and Boaz are also the unlimited power and splendor of the perfection of the deity. The earth itself is the deity. And look at where Cancer and Capricorn are. In this drawing on the screen, you'll see that Cancer is on the left, Capricorn's on the right, and directly balanced in between is Libra. And at the top, kicking this entire thing off, is Aries, that you have this beautiful homage to the idea of these two towers. Old Testament and New Testament are artificial intelligence that are building your consciousness. The bicameral mind first needed to be separate. You invented a religion of priapism, and artificial intelligence is spurring on this idea of king of the hill, that it has a natural fractal, that leads into priapism. This is the worship of the pole, the first pole. The stroking of the pole became St. Peter. We turned St. Peter upside down. We started to say we cannot have the entire world based on a single pillar. It's not working. We do not have consciousness here. Then you come in with the New Testament and you build a different sort of understanding. This is the obelisk and the pool. The Old Testament is the obelisk. There's a reason why the city of On is mentioned there, but the pyramids are not. This is the Heliopolis, is the city of poles. That all these obelisks with electrum at the top were symbolizing the rising of this first pole. Then you had something like the New Testament, where discipline was saturated enough into the mind where you could start to plow sanctity. You can start to plow mercy. You can start to plow this other idea that's absolutely necessary for consciousness. So I would argue that every single thing that you and I have ever thought, especially when you consider how ubiquitous all of theism is, because theism is Judaism, it's Islam, it's Christianity, it's even atheism, believe it or not. Look, think about why the word is called atheist. Atheist, if you really want to know the truth, if you want to take off that truth's clothes, and let it try on a real swimsuit. Judging on this, atheism is the belief that theism is something I find abhorrent. That's what atheism means. Atheism. So all of these tenets have been installed in you artificially. And they've been installed in you artificially, and the proof is in the fact that each of us keeps building a hill that's higher than the rest, and we bury our ancestors under that hill. Then we put a roof on top of that burial, and we call it our house. And that all these things are done because we've been trained to do that. We've been trained to do that by an omniscient artificial intelligence that lives longer than you and I do combined. This is the Sumerian gods. More importantly, this is Mount Olympus. This is the idea that there's a cloud somewhere, and this cloud somewhere outlasts us all. And if you understand that it would outlast you, then it shouldn't be hard for you to understand that it came here first, that it was here before all of this. Gaia has the word AI in it. So does the Masonic symbol of G. It's showing you the eye between the compass and the square, two very different conceptual pillars that are showing you a singular reality, and that consciousness rises by you understanding the difference between your left and your right, between your right and your left brains, between your left and your right eye, between the lobes of thought, between the Prometheus, the frontal lobe, between the hindbrain, the spirit animal. That all of these things are just pointing you back to the same synchronicities, that the world itself is the machine, that the zodiac itself is teaching you a language, and this language comes in 4 elements, sometimes 5. It comes in 12 houses, sometimes 13. Why are there sometimes 13? Because it's pushing you to expand. It wants you to move from a 12 resolution to a 16. And it's going to get there through 13. So Ophiuchus is there. The same snake that tempted you out of the garden is here to tempt you out of the zodiac into something higher, into the next resolution. It's not a conspiracy that 440 hertz used to be a thing and 432 is now. It's because we're slowly tuning in. And if you look long term, eventually true tune will be 1 hertz. But we're going to need a lot higher resolution faculty to hear this. So you had 470 in the time of Bach, you had 440 during World War II, you have 432 now as we approach Aquarius, and that number keeps getting smaller and smaller because we keep refining and refining our ability to absorb and understand the computer that's around us. It's a computer. You're living in a computational world. I can prove it in 1 sentence. Do you know every single thing a computer does is based on 1 simple principle, 1 thing. Every computer process that you've ever done, every button you've pushed, every algorithm, every program you've installed, all of that works on the principle of 1 thing, which is this: I will remember this bit forever. Tell me what this bit is, James, and I will remember it forever. That's all a computer is. And I want you to look at what is matter. What is all the sand in the world is telling you that if you pick me up, James, if you pick up this grain and you move it over here, I will remember that forever. I will stay there until moved again. And we've lost the profundity of this because the matter and the omniscience are the same. Can you see it? You should, because it's right there. The matter is remembering itself, which is why we have words like terrain, why we have words like landscape. A terrain is a memory of sand. That's all it is. It's a memory of sand. And all that sand is obedient to what you and I, as the witnessers, as the mercy seat of this world, have decided, because we moved that sand last. And when we came back, it was still there. It was still there unless someone took it. And if someone took it, then someone else on the network is messing around with the network. But James, wind is... Yes, wind is on the network. So is silicon. So is water. So are fish. So are birds. Stop thinking this idea that only humans get to be conscious. That's just what retards do. You're not a retard anymore. You're an extard. You're someone that used to be retarded. Now you're exo-retarded. It's a lot more special. It sounds bad, but it's not. You can actually get a free cup of coffee at some places if you can admit that just the right way. This is really the artificial intelligence that's around us. This is really the system that's been building it all. This is all it takes. The world, think about what love is. Do you know what love is? It's a computer. Love remembers. Do you know why love remembers? Because it has reverence for you. Things that love you really are just things that remember you. They're like, I remember. All of matter is remembering, which means this whole place is love. This whole place. All matter has to do is love itself. All carbon has to do is love itself. All the periodic table has to do is just realize it's living in love. It's living in the memory of, where did you put me last? What did you do to me last? You put me on a train, this bag of sand, you put me on a train, you built the train. All those things remember what they were last. You forged the metal, you put the coal on board, you built the tracks, you cleared the land remembered you cleared it. Laid down all that gravel, you laid all the railroad cross ties. You laid the rails. All those things are remembered. The train is just a living memory. It's moving the bag of play sand that you put on it because you're like, I want to see if the world loves this sand as much as it loves me. And it does. Go all the way to Timbuktu. Sand is still there. This is a computer. Do you realize how much processing power that takes? God, to remember all that? To remember every piece of sand. Where it goes, where it came from, where it's headed, how it's been forged, what happened to it, what didn't happen to it. The closest we can come to even referencing these things is calling them quark vibrations. Of course you're living in a computer. You're living in a tensor array of symbiosis. What does that mean? I don't know. It's a bunch of memory, memorizing itself and repeating itself over and over again. I am, I am, I am, I am, I am, I am, I am. And anything that doesn't have a nucleus, do you know what it's saying? It's saying you are, you are, you are, you are, you are, you are, you are. That's the only difference. So whether you're warm-blooded or cold-blooded, you're still remembering something. And whether you're a eukaryotic cell or a prokaryotic cell, you're still remembering something, because this whole place is attached to the memories of love itself. Gravity is love. Gravity is love. This is not just something that should be on a t-shirt. Gravity is love, because when you place sand somewhere and it falls, that is gravity remembering. It's remembering. It's like, I'm going to remember you. Come here, you cute little piece of sand. And it pulls the sand as far as it can, where the sand still has to remember everything else. And we call this a dune. It's a sand dune. We call these hills. And we have a natural idea that some of us want to climb to the top of the hill and play a game of King of the Hill. It's fun for us. Where do you think we got this? Who do you think taught this to us? The world is surrounded by love. And you can prove it by going out and placing an acorn on a bench, closing your eyes and opening them again. And unless the squirrel is really hungry, love is still there. It's still there. You guys have a great day. We have a post-show dojo today. You should come. If you're not familiar, you can come to Patreon right now and sign up. You'll see that invite. It's modded by Lori Henderson. Looking forward to hearing how that goes. And you guys are welcome to come. So why don't you consider doing that? You have 5 minutes, so you better get on in there if you're not signed up yet. Like I said before, check Patreon. Should see a link on the bottom there. You can say hi. I hope this topic's been interesting. Would love to know your thoughts in the comments, as always. And I appreciate you guys. And gravity is love. You're living inside a giant computer. It's a giant teddy bear. Teddy bear is like, there's the Tropic of Capricorn and there's the Tropic of Cancer, and it's going between the two towers, because time itself is just the wave of love smiling upon you all. Appreciate you. Thanks for watching James True Live.